here we are, filming my first ever YouTube video. No idea what I'm doing. I should probably check that this is actually recording. Shut up, Kimberly. No idea where I've put mine. Ooh. What was I talking about? I don't know what to do with my hands. Let's shut up and keep going, Kimberly. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about vases, because vases are one of the first steps. Very important. If you don't have a vase, what the hell are you going to put your flowers in, I guess? So, I'm Kimberly. I am a wedding florist. I have DIY'd my own wedding flowers twice now. After the first wedding, flowers were great, husband not so much. After the first wedding, I decided to retrain, leave my corporate job and become a florist. That's how much I loved DIYing my own wedding flowers. So now as a wedding florist with over 10 years wedding experience now behind me, I want to teach all of you how to DIY your wedding flowers. Also, sorry, I got married again recently. Love of my life. I've got 2 beautiful children now. Found my fairy tale happy ending. And obviously I DIY'd my wedding flowers again with the knowledge that I now have accrued as a professional wedding florist. So I've seen it from both sides, basically, and I'm here to teach all of you wonderful brides who want to DIY your own wedding flowers just how to do it and what are the tips and tricks that will save you time, money, energy, sanity. Let's talk about vases. Where do I get my vases from? Where should you get your vases from? So obviously, if we're DIYing, probably motivated a bit by money. Don't want to spend a crazy amount on vases. There are floristry wholesale places that I get my vases from. I would say that they are great for staples. They are not great for fun, quirky, cool, unique vases if you're looking for something a little bit different. Some of them, again, because they won't necessarily all sell to the public, or maybe you have to buy them in huge, vast quantity minimums, like 100 vases, and that's not going to suit you. So, where in that instance do I go to get my vases? I got these guys here. I got them from IKEA. Now, this is not a paid promotion, not a sponsorship, any of that, but if IKEA want to slide into my DMs, I wouldn't kick them out of bed. That's me trying to be funny. These IKEA actually they have a really good range of vases, but they can be really expensive. They have a fantastic bud vase that is just en masse, that is great, for like $1 something if you're after bud vases. If you're after something a bit bigger, the spot that I actually go to in IKEA to look for vases is the kitchen section. And you could look in any kitchen section, like wherever you can get some good, cheap kitchenware, go and have a look, because anything that can hold water is a vase, basically. So even if it doesn't hold water, even if like you're looking at pots at your local garden centre and they've got like a drainage hole in the bottom of them, you can get some waterproof silicone, cover up the hole and just test it in advance, make sure it doesn't leak. You beauty, you've got a bloody vase. I got these guys, they came in a pack of 4. I think it was $12 for the 4 of them. So what's that, $4 a vase? So it's not too bad. Maybe a little bit expensive if you're DIYing, but think of it as, because you own these, you've spent your $4 on those, maybe you'll end up filling it with, say, $20 worth of flowers. That's still a really cheap centerpiece. The other beautiful thing about this is, because you own it, you can then give it away. You haven't hired it from a company, you don't have to give it back or anything like that. This can double as a bombonniere, so then you've saved money on your bombonniere. So if $4 is a little bit exy for you and you're thinking of spending a little bit less, think of how this can double as other things, basically, to save money. I'm going to show you how I would use these, because if you could go and try and shove some flowers in that, they're just going to all spill out the side, right? Or you're going to have to cut your stems really short, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to show you the mechanics that I would use to arrange flowers in these. I've already prepped one earlier. 2 different types of mechanics in the floristry world. Chicken wire is a great option, and so is flower foam for DIY brides. There are other things that you can get called flower frogs. This is a flower frog. You use a bit of waterproof sort of sticky stuff and you put it in the bottom and you stick your stems in. It's like a ikebana style kind of mechanism. These are a little bit expensive to buy. So I wouldn't, again, if you're DIYing, probably want to save money, probably not the best option for you. Chicken wire and flower foam, 2 really good options for mechanics for wedding flowers. Now, when I say mechanics, I don't mean the dudes that are going to fix your car. I mean the mechanisms that you're going to use to arrange and keep your flowers all together. So that is called flower mechanics, basically. Now, I'm not here to preach to you why you should use one over the other. I'm just going to give you some information you guys can pick for yourself. Now, Some people don't like using flour foam. It's not great for the environment. It's a microplastic. It takes a little while to break down. It's also not particularly great for your health. Chicken wire is great. It's reusable. However, it can be a little bit tricky for beginners to use. So pros and cons. This is really easy to use because it is a great water source. The foam absorbs all of the water and holds it. And so when you stick your stem in, it keeps it hydrated, and as you can see, you stick it in, it's not going to move, it's not going to go anywhere. So that's great for beginners if you're trying to get a little bit of confidence up. Chicken wire can be a little bit different. I've used just chicken wire that you get from your average hardware store, basically. I don't know, it's big enough to put your finger through. I wouldn't use anything smaller. This is like a good sort of size gauge or width, I'm not sure what they call it. You can actually get florist specific chicken wire that is coated in like a green plastic, which is great for reusing. If you are a beginner florist and you want to use this mechanic over and over again, which makes it really environmentally friendly, get some of that, because this will rust over time as you use it multiple times. So something to keep in mind. But when you stick a stem into this, it's not always going to sort of sit in the right spot exactly where you want it. It's kind of going to move around until you put heaps and heaps of stems together into the same little spot, and then eventually it forms a bit of a grid and it gets really tight, and then you can't get the stems out very easy, kind of thing, because they're all sort of like locked in together and it gets a bit harder. So that can be a little bit tricky for beginners to get around. Also, it's great for these vases because you just sort of fill up the water and it's got access to water when you put the stems in. But if you're going to use this mechanic for something like an arch, you need to put some wet moss or something like that inside the chicken wire to put up onto an arch to keep your flowers hydrated, because they have to have water. That can be a little bit tricky. It's a bit harder to make in advance, all that sort of thing. So anyway, a couple of pros and cons. I might do another video on chicken wire versus oasis later on, but today I'm going to show you how to do both so that you can sort of pick one. This is the one I've prepared earlier. I'm going to show you first off how to do the oasis. So I have the flower foam. So I have pre-soaked this. I've popped it in a bucket full of water and let it soak itself. You don't ever push the flower foam down, because if you push it underwater, it will bubble and it will sort of soak the outside and it won't give it a chance to fully absorb right into the middle. So when we cut this open, it should be fully hydrated and soaked through in the middle. It'd be really embarrassing if it's not. See? So if you push it under, you risk forming air bubbles where the water hasn't soaked through, and it will stay dry like this. If your stem goes into one of those air bubbles, it won't have a water source and it will die. I like to soak mine first before working with it, because this can be quite dusty, and it's those dust particles that you don't want to sort of be inhaling and messing around with, basically. So if you wet it, it will absorb all of that sort of dust and it's not going to be as messy. You will get a little bit of water leaking out, but that's normal. Much like a sponge, if you squeeze it, you're going to have a bit of water coming out of it. So the way I like to do this is get your vessel, hold it upside down, place it on the, put the knife down, Kimberly. Okay, place it around the edges, and then just sort of apply a bit of pressure, push it so that you get a bit of a grid, a mark, an outline of where to cut your foam. So now I'm going to cut this very roughly around the edges. Now, don't throw this out, because you can use it to sort of shove into the sides of things to stabilize stuff. It's still like, don't waste it. Waste not, want not, basically. So pop that over there. Now our vase is flared a bit, so I'm gonna have to sort of just cut a few little angles like this to sort of get it to the right kind of size. Basically, we're just gonna get it like that. I'm gonna push it down like that, and there you have it. So as you can see, a little bit of water's come out. That is totally fine. All right, that's what we want. Now you also want, this is maybe a bit high, but you also want a little bit above the vessel. You don't want it to be flush with the vase, if that makes sense, right? Because you want to stick stuff into the side so that it sort of looks like it's spewing out, so it looks a bit more natural, etc., etc. So you do want a bit of oasis hanging over the top, if that makes sense. Now, to make sure that this stays put, we've shoved it in, so it's nice and snug, but we're also going to tape it in as well. So this is called pot tape. This is like a cloth style tape, similar to duct tape or something like that. That is waterproof, that we use in the floristry world. You could try using sticky tape. It probably will come undone. So this stuff is really super handy to have when you're DIYing your wedding flowers. So I'm just going to tape it over the top in order to secure the foam and make sure it doesn't fall anywhere. The other thing I like to do is tape a little bit of extra around the side, just to make sure it's secure. While it is waterproof, you just want to be careful, okay? The other reason why I like to soak my foam in advance, so I'm not pouring water straight into it while that tape is sort of setting and getting stuck. And so the beauty of it is, like I was saying, the foam's up here. We can have a bit of foliage hanging over the side, so you're not going to see that tape. Also, it's green, so it's going to blend in, right? Okay, so that is the vase prepped with foam. So chicken wire. So like I said, this is just your stock standard garden center variety chicken wire. What I'm going to do is just sort of try and unroll it a little bit, and I'm going to measure this. So I'm putting it over the top here, if you can see that. So I want about 3/4. I'm not good at maths, guys. I'm a florist. I want about 3/4 more chicken wire. Is that right? So that we can fold it over 4 times. Is the mathing, guys? I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm just using my flower scissors to do this, which you really shouldn't do because it's going to blunt them, but do what I say, not what I do, guys. There you go. The bowl takes up 1/4, roughly, of that piece of chicken wire. Now what we're going to do, and you could possibly use gloves as well, particularly if you're a DIY bride, because no one wants scratch marks all over their hands the day before they're getting married. Actually, no, you wouldn't do this the day before. You can do this like a month in advance. Timeline is everything, guys. Prep as much as you can in advance. Regardless, maybe wear some gloves if you don't want little stabby scratch marks all over your hands, perhaps. And so what I'm doing is I'm curling it over and scrunching it up into a proper 360 ball. So you need to have chicken wire on all sides, kind of like a sausage or like a ball, basically. All right, like that. And then we're going to shove it into our bowl, okay? So that's going to be the finished product. The reason why you need this to be a full sort of 360 coverage is because if you just go and put, let's get another bowl here. If you just go and put a flat piece of chicken wire over the top, when you put your stem in, it's going to fall straight over. You need a few layers for the stem to lean upon so that it doesn't move around as much, okay? Does that make sense? I say does that make sense a lot. I don't know why. I don't know where that came from, but maybe we could turn that into a drinking game. Every time I say, does that make sense? Do a shot. Same as we did with our foam, we're going to use our pot tape to tape this guy up. Make sure that it stays put. And now if you're paranoid about having all of that tape showing, you could always just do a tiny little bit like that, okay? Just as double security. And then now all you need to do is fill her up with water. Found some preserved hydrangea because I was going to go outside and cut some grasses and things for my garden. It's raining now and I don't want to get wet. So basically that's all you have it. Fill it in like so. Fill in around all those sides like we talked about. So there you go. Now you've got a cute little vase that your guests can take home. A beautiful little arrangement you've made yourself. Whack some of these in. These I did grow. How does that look? Probably looks crap because I can't see what I'm doing. But there you go. Cute little arrangement. Some wire, foam. Take your pick. How do we end this? How do you end this on a YouTube? So I hope you found something educational out of what I'm sure is a complete dumpster fire of a first video. Finish it. Tell me more of what you want to see in the comments. What other content, videos, education, behind the scenes, what do you want to learn? What do you want to see? Please let me know. I am here for you, the DIY bride. You've got this, queen. I'll post some resource links in the comments as well, the descriptions. I don't know what I'm doing. Go out there and flower the crap out of your wedding, you goddamn queen. I will see you soon. Thank you for watching. Whose idea was it to start a YouTube channel? Okay.